My dear students, in this series of video, I'm going to answer most of past papers, all variants, core and extended. Today, I'm going to answer February and March 2021. Biology. Code 0, 610, 0970. Paper 1 and paper 2, variant 2. Question number 1. Wood lice are small organisms that live in damp places. Damp places means wet and moist. In an experiment, 3 live wood lice are put into a glass container. The diagram shows what happens after 30 minutes. Here, we put wood lice placed in hole here. This place dry, this place damp. He said here, wood lice live in damp places. When we put wood lice in this place, they move to the damp place, the place that contains water. So which characteristic of living organisms is shown by this experiment? Let's revise the characteristics. The first characteristic, movement. Movement causes an organism or part of an organism to change its position or place. Respiration involves chemical reactions that release energy in cells. Sensitivity is being able to detect and respond to internal and external stimuli. Growth, permanent increase in size and dry mass. Reproduction results in the formation of new individuals. Excretion is the removal of waste chemicals made in cells during metabolism. Nutrition involves the use of food for energy and growth. So here, which characteristic of living organisms is shown by this experiment? Here, the characteristics, movement, because they move from this place to this place. And also, sensitivity, because here stimuli, the damp or water, so they move from this place to this place because they're able to detect and respond to the external stimuli. So here, which characteristic? Growth? No. Nutrition? No. Respiration? No. Sensitivity and movement. Question number 2. Which species can breed with Briniola vulgaris to produce fertile offspring? Briniola medullaris, Vespiola vulgaris. Let's explain this question. We know that the first name is genus, Brunella, and the second name species, vulgaris. So it should be both same genus and same species. Let's see lion and tiger. Lion and tiger can breed producing a liger, and this isn't fertile offspring. Fertile offspring can only be produced if species is same. So Brunella Medullaris cannot breed with Birinella vulgaris to produce fertile offspring. If genus is different, that means they share no common ancestor. So Bispiola vulgaris is an entirely different organism of a different kind. So different genus cannot produce fertile offspring. They have to be same genus and same species. Look here, Brunella vulgaris is plant, Brunella medullaris bird, and Bispiola vulgaris insect. Let's go to the question again. Which species can breed with Brunella vulgaris to produce fertile offspring? So the answer is D. Nothing. Not Brunella medullaris, because it's animal, it's bird, and Vespiola vulgaris is the animal, insect, but Brunella vulgaris is a plant. So the answer is D. Question number 3. What is the correct order of arthropod groups from those with the most legs to those with the fewest legs? From most legs to the fewest legs. Descending order. Let's revise this part. Insects have 3 pairs. Arachnids have 4 pairs. Crustaceans between 5 and 20 pairs. Myriapods, many segments, each segment has 1 pair of legs. So the first one, myriapods, then crustaceans, then arachnids, then insects. Question number 4. The diagram shows 4 animal cells, not plant cells. That means no cell wall, as seen under a light microscope. So here let's see this picture. Adjacent cells close to each other. So means 2 cells, 2 cell membrane, no 1 cell membrane, no cell wall. This is animal cell, not plant cell. Okay, and no 2 cell walls. So the correct answer is 2 cell membranes. But what will be present at X? 2 cell membranes. Number 5. The diagram shows a root hair cell. How is this cell modified for the absorption of water? It has cellulose cell wall. It has a thin layer of cytoplasm. It has a large surface area. It has a large vacuole. So here how, the question is, how is this cell modified for the absorption of water? Root hair cells in a plant have long extensions that give them a large surface area. Why? To absorb water and ions from the soil, to increase the rate of absorption of water and ions. So the correct answer is, it has a large surface area. Question number 6. Student to draw a diagram of mitochondrion. The diagram has a magnification of 20,000. The diagram is 5 centimeter long. What is the actual size of the mitochondrion? So the low actual size equals image size divided by magnification. But here you have to convert 5 centimeter to micrometer by multiply by 10,000. So 5 centimeter multiply by 10,000 to get the answer with micrometers. And divided by magnification, 20,000. Okay. It will be 2.5 micrometer is the correct answer. Focus here. The convert of centimeter to micrometer. Focus here. Number 6. The diagram shows a drawing a part of tulip flower. The actual width of the stigma shown by the line PQ is 5 millimeter. The length of line BQ is 15 millimeter. So, what is the magnification of the diagram? Magnification equals what? Magnification equals image size divided by actual size. So the image size is 15 millimeter and actual size 5 millimeter. So 15 divided by 5 equals 3. So the correct answer is 3. A jar of air was placed upside down on top of a jar containing a brown gas as shown. Which process has taken place? Oh, here is diffusion. Okay. What is meant by diffusion? Diffusion is the net movement of molecules or ions from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration down a concentration gradient. But for ions and molecules. What about osmosis? Osmosis net movement of water molecules, not ions, not water molecules, down a concentration gradient from higher concentration to lower concentration through partially permeable membrane, such as the cell membrane. So what is the difference here between osmosis and diffusion? Let's see this table. Osmosis is limited only to the liquid medium, but diffusion, liquid and gas and solids. Osmosis requires semi-permeable membrane. Here, diffusion not requires semi-permeable membrane, only from higher concentration to lower concentration of ions. Here, the flow of particles occurs only in one direction, but diffusion flow of particles occurs in all the directions, up and down. Okay. Let's revise this part. This from chemistry. Diffusion, the spreading out and mixing of substance with another substance due to the motion of its particles is called diffusion. Diffusion of one substance into another substance go on until a uniform mixture is formed. Let us take an example of diffusion. If we take a gas jar full of bromine vapor and invert another gas jar containing air over it, what happens? Here air colorless and bromine vapor red-brown. Then after some time, the red-brown vapors of bromine spread out into the upper gas jar containing air. In this way, the upper gas jar, which contains colorless air in it, also turns red-brown. This mixing is due to the diffusion of bromine vapor or bromine gas into air. And the air from the upper jar gas also diffuses into the lower gas jar, so we cannot see it. Okay, so what is the correct answer? The correct answer, which process has taken place? Oh, here air diffuses down, gas diffuses up. So the correct answer is A, diffusion both upwards and downwards till the equilibrium take place. Okay, number 8. Which row describe active transport? What is the meaning of active transport? Active transport is movement of ions or molecules across cell membrane, but against a concentration gradient using energy from respiration. So here we need energy. We need energy. So, okay. But from low concentration to higher concentration. So the correct answer is D. Okay. A. What about A? From higher to lower and no need of energy. This is diffusion. From higher to low concentration but need energy. Lower concentration to higher concentration but no energy. Okay, so the correct answer is D. From lower concentration active transport means movement of ions from lower concentration to higher concentration using energy from respiration of cell. Number 9. The bases on one strand of a DNA molecule have the sequence C, A, G, C, T. What is the sequence of bases on the other strand? Okay. You know the DNA molecule consists of two strands coiled together to form double helix. Each strand contains chemicals called bases A and C, G, and T, which bond together. A always bonds with T. C always bonds with G. So here C bonds G with G, A with T, G with C, C with G, T with A. So the correct answer is B. You can answer this question. The diagram below show a partially completed section of DNA molecule. Copy and complete the diagram by writing the letters on of the missing bases. Let's write them. Okay, here C bonds with G and A with T and G with C and G here with C, C with G, T with A, C with G, A with T, and T with A. Okay. Question number 9. 4 foods were tested for each of these nutrients. Fat, using the ethanol emulsion test. Protein, using the Biuret test. Reducing sugar, using Benedict's solution. Which food contains protein and fat? Let's revise this part for food test. For Benedict's and iodine and Biuret, the mixture between sulfur, copper sulfate and sodium hydroxide, and ethanol and DCB, IB, dichlorophenol, endophenol for vitamin C. Okay. Benedict's detects reducing sugars, monosaccharides such as glucose, fructose, and disaccharides such as maltose. But sucrose doesn't react. Okay. The reagent color of Benedict is blue. What is the method? Add Benedict's reagent to the food and boil in a water bath. The result, if substance present, the positive result, green, yellow, orange, till brick red. What about starch? Starch detected by iodine. The reagent color, orange, yellow, or brown. Add iodine reagent to the food directly to result if substance present, positive result, blue, black. What about biuret? Detect proteins or amino acids. The reagent color or negative result, blue. Add biuret reagent to the food. Turns to purple or violet. This is positive result. What about ethanol? Ethanol detect lipids, fats, known. This test known as emulsion test. Reagent color or negative result. The color of ethanol, colorless. Add ethanol to the food to dissolve the fat, then add water. It turns to cloudy or milky white or white emulsion. So let's see the question. Fat, the color of result of food test for fat using ethanol emulsion. Okay, let's see the fat. Okay, fat, milky white, yes. What about brick red? Brick red for reducing sugar. The question asks about fat and protein only. Okay, so no brick red. What about protein? Protein, yes, purple. So the correct answer is A, purple, and no brick red and the milky white. Purple for protein using biuret test. Milky white for fat using ethanol emulsion test. Okay, this is the correct answer. A. A human enzyme was used in an experiment. All factors were kept constant, the same, apart from temperature. What happened to the rate of reaction when the temperature was reduced steadily from 35 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius? Oh, what happens here? Let's see the diagram for temperature and rate of reaction. Here, the rate of reaction very slow, very slow. And heat energy causes small collisions between enzyme and substrate. The rate of reaction here increase as the temperature increase. Till here, till this point, this is called optimum temperature, where the reaction occurs at its fastest. The optimum temperature for humans is close to 37 degrees Celsius. What happens here? Active site lose its shape, causing the enzyme to lose its ability to catalyze the reaction. So enzymes here denature at high temperatures, so rate falls rapidly. The question here, what happened to the rate of reaction when the temperature was reduced steadily from 35 to 5? Focus here. Low temperature doesn't denature enzyme, just makes it works slowly and will work again when the temperature is suitable. So the correct answer, it decreased steadily. Okay. The correct answer is A. Number 10. The graph shows the effect of temperature on the rate of an enzyme-controlled reaction. Which statements are correct? The collision frequency between substrate and the enzyme increase between X and Y. Yes, it's correct. The temperature, when the temperature increase, the collision frequency between substrate and enzyme increase. The shape of the active site is altered, changed between Y and Z. Yes, changed. With the temperature at which the maximum rate of the reaction occurs is the best temperature for the enzyme. Okay, so the increasing temperature of an enzyme controlled reaction increase the rate reaction up to a maximum which occurs at the optimum temperature. Why? This is because greater kinetic energy is causing a greater number of collisions. It's the first one. Causing greater number of collisions between enzyme and substrate molecules. At higher temperature, the rate of reaction decreases until it stops acting as a catalyst. This is due to the change in the shape of the active site, which means the substrate can no longer fit. The enzyme is now denatured. So the correct answer is B, 1 and 2 only. 1, the collision frequency between substrate and the enzyme increase between X and Y, and the shape of the active site is altered, changed between Y and Z. But number 3 is not correct. The enzyme is denatured irreversibly at X and Z. No. The enzyme activity decrease only. Number 11. Which graph represents the effect of pH on the activity of digestive enzyme? Okay. The activity of digestive enzyme. Most enzymes work best at one value of pH. At either side of their optimum pH value, enzyme activity decrease. Okay. So most enzymes work best inside cells where the conditions are neutral, and the optimum pH of these enzymes is therefore about pH 7, pH equal 7. So which graph represents the effect of pH on the activity of digestive enzyme? So the correct answer is B, when the optimum pH of these enzymes is about pH equals 7. In which process is oxygen a waste product? Oh, so easy. No active transport, no aerobic respiration, because aerobic respiration, the waste product carbon dioxide and water vapor. Anaerobic respiration, muscles, lactic acid, and yeast, alcohol and carbon dioxide. So the correct answer is D, photosynthesis. Because photosynthesis, the waste product, glucose and oxygen. Which layer in the leaf contains interconnecting air spaces? Okay, let's see. The first layer is upper epidermis, and palisade layer, the second layer, spongy layer, and lower epidermis. Where is the air space? Air space here, the spongy layer. So the correct answer is spongy layer. So let's see the question again. Which layer in the leaf contains interconnecting air spaces? Yes, letter C, because containing here air spaces. Number 14. Where does digestion take place? Okay. The solid waste feces is stored in the rectum. Eventually, the feces are phased out through the anus. This is called digestion. So the correct answer is D, the anus. Okay. The table shows diagrams of 3 types of cell found in a leaf, which row correctly identify each cell type. Okay, let's see the diagram. Yes, this is xylem. Yeah, here, xylem. Okay, so the first one, xylem. What about the second one? Let's see. Okay, the second one is upper epidermis. So the second one, epidermis. The third one, let's see the third one. Yeah, sponge. Yes. The third one, spongy mesophyll. Okay. So the correct answer C. This is xylem and epidermis and spongy mesophyll. Why this spongy mesophyll? Yeah, more here, more. Question 15. The diagram show a tooth with signs of decay. Okay. What has made the hole in the enamel of the tooth? Yes, this enamel. Yeah. And the decay here in this place. Okay. Don't say sugar. Why? Bacteria are present on the surface of our teeth. Food deposits and bacteria form a layer called plaque. Bacteria on the plaque feed on sugars. They use it in respiration and producing acid. Yes, this acid dissolves enamel, forming a hole. So the answer, what has made the hole in the enamel of the tooth? So the correct answer is acid. 15. The diagram show a fat globule B in one part of the alimentary canal and the same fat globule Q as it appears in another part of the alimentary canal. What happens here? Bile emulsify fats in the duodenum. The smaller fat globules have a larger surface area upon which lipase can act. So here Q in ileum and duodenum. So Q, ileum or duodenum. Okay. So the answer between C and D. Okay, let's see. C. B in esophagus, yes. From esophagus till ileum. Yeah, because esophagus, no digestion for fat. Okay. So the correct answer is C, not D. The diagram show enzymes and the products of the reactions they catalyze. Okay. Amylase breaks down starch to simple sugar. Lipase breaks down fats into fatty acid and glycerol. Protease breaks down protein into amino acids. So the correct answer is C. Which statement about function of xylem tissue is correct? Xylem vessels are cylindrical and hollow. They are arranged into columns like pipes. The cell walls are thickened with bands or spirals of cellulose and a waterproof material called lignin. These cells allow water and ions to move from the roots to the rest of the plant. They also help to support the stem and leaves. So the correct answer for the function of xylem tissue is correct. It helps to support stems and leaves, and also for transport water, allow water and ions to move from the roots to the rest of the plant. What is part of the definition of transpiration? Transpiration is the evaporation of water at the surfaces of mesophyll cells, followed by diffusion of water vapor through stomata to the atmosphere. So which is the correct answer? The loss of water vapor, the loss of water vapor, not the movement of molecules, not the movement of particles through cell membrane from region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration. The active same active transport and movement of molecules into the cells of organisms where they are used. The transport of minerals, ions from roots into the stem and leaf nodes. The loss of water vapor from plant leaves by evaporation of water at the surface of mesophyll cells. Number 19. The diagram shows the circulation of blood in an organism. Okay, let's revise this part. There's circulation in different animals. Fish have a two-chambered heart and single circulation. This means that for every one circuit of the body, the blood passes through the heart once. What about mammals? Four-chambered heart and double circulation. This means that for every one circuit of the body, the blood passes through the heart twice. Yeah. So the correct answer, mammal. Oh, mammalian lungs or mammalian body? Yeah, let's see here. Yes, here lungs. Yes, lungs. So the correct answer, mammalian lungs, from heart to lungs, heart again, and body and heart. Yes. So the correct answer, C, mammalian lungs. In which part of the organism is the location of capillaries in the box? Yeah, capillaries in the box. Let's see. Here from heart to here capillaries, here gas exchange. Gas exchange. Where is the place of the gas exchange? Yes, alveoli, inside the lungs. So the correct answer, mammalian lungs. Okay. This part, yes, lungs. 19. Which structures ensure the one-way flow of blood in the human circulatory system? Alveoli, capillaries, synapses, valves. Yeah, synapses is for nervous system. Yeah. Alveoli, respiratory system. So here is circulatory system. Okay, the answer between capillaries and valves. But here, which structures ensure the one-way flow of blood? So it's valve. Between each atrium and ventricle is one-way valve. The valves prevent the blood flowing back into the right and left atrium. When the right and left ventricles contract, there are one-way valves between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery, and between the left ventricle and aorta. These prevent blood flowing back into the ventricles when they relax and fill with blood from the atria. The ventricles have more muscular walls than atria because they have to pump the blood much farther than the atria, either to the lungs or to the tissues of the body. The diagram shows a section through the heart. Which part pumps blood? To the aorta. Yes. C, the correct answer C, left ventricle. On each side of the heart, there are two chambers. The upper chambers are called atria. Blood empties into them from number 20. The diagram shows a section throughout the heart. Which part pumps blood to the aorta? Yes, the correct answer C, left ventricle. Yes, through the aorta. On each side of the heart, there are two chambers. The upper chambers called atria. Blood empties into them from veins. Yes, when the atria contract, they pump blood into ventricles, which have much more muscular walls than the atria. When the ventricles contract, they pump the blood out into the arteries at higher pressure. The right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs via pulmonary artery. The left ventricle pumps blood to the rest of the body via the aorta, the main artery. 21. Which defense prevents pathogens from entering the body? Let's revise this part. The skin and hairs in the nose are mechanical barriers to entry of pathogens. Mucus in the airways and acid in the stomach are chemical barriers. Phagocytes are white blood cells that engulf pathogens and digest them. Lymphocytes make antibodies to attack pathogens that enter the blood. So which defense prevents pathogens from entering the body? Yeah, so it's mucus. The photomicrograph shows human blood. Which blood component can carry out the process of phagocytosis? Yeah, phagocytes. B, lymphocyte, produce antibodies. C, red blood cells. D, plasma. Yes, A, phagocyte, carry out the process of phagocytosis. We said here, engulf pathogens and digest them. Which diagram show how a vaccination can lead to long-term immunity? Vaccination is an example of active immunity. The person gains immunity through being given a small quantity of the antigen or antigens required to stimulate an immune response by lymphocytes, leading to the production of antibodies and memory cells. This is an artificial way to gain active immunity, which is long-lasting, long-term immunity. So the correct answer A, antigen injected, lymphocytes multiply, antibodies produced, and the memory cells produced. So here harmless pathogen injected. Antigens trigger an immune response. It can take days for a lymphocyte making complementary antibodies to be activated. Lymphocyte able to produce complementary antibodies, multiplies antibodies released, and also memory cells lasting years are produced if antigen is encountered again. Antibodies are produced much faster. This is called long-term immunity. #22. Air entering human lungs contains approximately 21% oxygen and 0.04% carbon dioxide. Which row show the concentrations of these gases in air leaving the lungs? Okay, let's see. The percentage of oxygen in expired air. 4 or 12, 16, 20. Yeah, so this table from your book. Oxygen gas, inspired air breathing in and expired air breathing out. Breathing in 21%, and expired air contains 16%. So the correct answer C, 16% for oxygen. Let's see the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide 0.04, and expired air contains only 4%. Why? Oxygen breathing in 21 and expired air breathing out 16, because oxygen used up in respiration. Carbon dioxide increase because it reduced in respiration. But nitrogen, it used. Water vapor breathing in low, but high produced by respiration, and also evaporation of water from respiratory passages. So the percentage here of water vapor high, but he asked about percentage of oxygen and percentage of carbon dioxide. So the correct answer C, 16 and 4. Okay. After running a fast race, student had pains in their leg muscles. Yeah, the pain was caused by the buildup of a product and aerobic respiration. Which product caused the pain? Carbon dioxide, ethanol, lactic acid, water. A, carbon dioxide? No, carbon dioxide for yeast aerobic respiration. Ethanol also for yeast aerobic respiration. Yes, lactic acid. Yes, for muscles. But water, aerobic respiration. Okay, again, carbon dioxide for yeast and aerobic respiration, and also from aerobic respiration. Ethanol from yeast during anaerobic respiration. Lactic acid from muscles during anaerobic respiration that cause pain, the pain, and water from aerobic respiration. Okay. Anaerobic respiration, glucose is broken down to release energy in the absence of oxygen, forming lactic acid in muscle tissue, or alcohol plus carbon dioxide in yeast and plants. The diagram shows the production and excretion of materials from the human body. Let's see. Cells here produce carbon dioxide. Yes, this process called aerobic respiration that produces carbon dioxide and transport it to X, the organ that called lungs, to excrete it. Okay, what about the liver? Amino acid, excess of amino acids in the liver. Liver breakdown, excess of amino acids to form ammonia, which is made into urea. This process called deamination. So the process W called deamination. The process V called aerobic respiration. And the X, the organ X called lungs. And here the product called urea. Okay. And urea transported to kidneys to secrete it. So V, aerobic respiration. W, deamination. And the X, the organ called lungs. And Y, urea. And Z, kidneys. What is the function of synapse? When any two neurons meet, they do not actually touch each other. There is a tiny gap between them called synapse. When an impulse reaches a synapse, chemical transmitter substance is released from the first neuron. It diffuses across the synapse and triggers an impulse in the second neuron. Since the chemical transmitter is only produced on one side of the synapse, so it ensures that impulses travel in one direction through the nervous system. So the correct answer is B. The function of synapse to ensure impulses travel in one direction through the nervous system. Hormones and the nervous system both control our bodies. Which statement about the control provided by our hormones is correct? Okay. For what? Which statement about the control provided by our hormones is correct? Yeah. Hormones from endocrine system in the blood slow the speed of information transfer. So it's slow response. Okay. Usually slow and long lasting. Yes. So the correct answer, slow response and long lasting. Oh, what about nervous system? Yes, short-lived. Example, muscle contract for a short time, but the speed is fast. So the correct answer here, C. Slow response and long lasting. Okay. What are the products of anaerobic respiration in yeast? We said it, yeast and the plant cell, alcohol, ethanol, plus carbon dioxide. So the correct answer is A, alcohol plus carbon dioxide. What about muscles? Lactic acid. Aerobic respiration need oxygen, carbon dioxide plus water vapor. The diagram shows the human excretory system and associated blood vessels. What are structures X, Y, and Z? X is called ureters, Y, bladder, and Z, urethra. Okay, what's the function of X? Ureters carry urine down to the bladder. Bladder store urine. Urethra carry urine out the body. So X ureter, Y bladder, store urine, and Z urethra, carry urine out of the body. Sensory neurons conduct impulses from where to where? Yeah, sensory neurons transmit impulses from sense organs to the brain and the spinal cord. But motor neurons transmit impulses away from the brain and the spinal cord to effector organs like muscles and glands. So the answer A, these four motor neurons, but the question asked about sensory neurons conduct impulses from sense organs to the brain and spinal cord. The diagram shows the section through human skin, which row matches the labeled part to its function. Yeah, let's see this picture. For insulation, yes, insulation X, YX is a fat tissue. fat tissue, helps insulate against heat loss from the body. And also animals that live in cold environments will usually have a thicker layer of fat that's called the blubber. So X is for X for insulation. What about V? Oh, V, what? Yes, V, sensing temperature, sensing temperature, the nerve ending receptor that senses changes in the temperature on the surface of the skin. Okay. And sends the information to the brain along sensory neuron. So V, sensing temperature. What about Y? Y? Oh, Y, the sweat glands. Why sweat gland? Okay, sweat gland, sweat evaporates from the sweat gland in order to, yes, increase heat loss from the body when warm. So Y for sweat production. Yes. Auxin is a chemical produced by plants. It controls plant growth. Which statement about auxin is correct? Auxin affects the cells only where it is made. No, it can diffuse. Auxin is equally distributed in response to light from one direction. No, unequally. Yes, look at this picture and this picture. Auxin elongated the cells in the shoot tip. No, behind the tip. So the correct answer, D. Auxin is made in the shoot tip. Auxin made by shoot tip. And auxin makes cells elongated more on shaded sides. And also auxin passes down shaded side. This shaded side. Okay. And here also cells elongate more on upper side. And here auxin causes cells so to elongate less on lower side. So auxin is not unequally distributed in response to light from one direction. Okay. And also auxin made by root tip and shoot tip. How do some antibiotics kill bacteria? Antibiotics destroy pathogens by disrupting cell wall formation, inhibit protein synthesis, and metabolism in the pathogen cell. So antibiotics kill bacteria, they damage the cell wall. They damage endoplasmic reticulum? No. And damage the nucleus? No. Damage the protein coat in the virus, not bacteria. So the correct answer A, they damage the cell wall. Some statements about asexual reproduction are listed. Offspring are genetically identical. Offspring are genetically different. Only one parent is required. Two parents are required. Number one, offspring are genetically identical. Yes, this is for asexual reproduction, because asexual reproduction results in the production of genetically identical offspring. Also, only from one parent is required. But what about 2 and 4? 2 and 4 for sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction involves the fusion of male and female nuclei to form a zygote, producing offspring that are genetically different from each other and their parents. So the correct Which method of birth control works by preventing an egg from being released? A. Condom. No, it's trap sperm. It's a mechanical barrier. Contraceptive pill is a chemical barrier because it contains the hormones, combination of estrogen and progesterone in the pills, and stop ovulation, no egg for sperm to fertilize. Or you can prevent an egg from being released. Oviducts are cut and tied. So the correct answer here is B, contraceptive pill, because it contains combination of mixture of estrogen and progesterone in the pill. Stop ovulation, no egg for sperm to fertilize. Let's see C and D. Monitoring body temperature. This is for ovulation because temperature increase. Vasectomy is surgical procedure for male, which the vas difference is for male. The sperm duct are cut and tied in order to prevent the emission of sperm during ejaculation. But here, which method of birth control works by preventing an egg from being released? It is related to female, not male. The diagram shows a seedling growing in a pot in the light. So here, pot plant before it falls over. Pot plant after it falls over. The pot was then placed on its side in a dark room. So oxygen makes the roots grow down. Yes, and makes the stem grow upwards. So the correct answer, D. What will be the appearance of the seedling after 48 hours? Yes, the correct answer, D. Oxygen makes the roots grow down and makes the stem grow upwards. Heroin is an illegal drug which has many effects on the body. Which statement about the effects of heroin abuse is correct? Decrease reaction times, increase negative social behavior, stimulant, not addictive. It's depressant and highly addictive, so D is not correct. Stimulant, no, this is for nicotine. So here increase negative social behavior. So the correct answer, B, heroin increase negative social behavior. Which process is occurring at X? Yes, fertilization. It's easy. Pollination for plant. Which diagram of the male reproductive system is correctly labeled? Let's see. Yes, is which one? Yeah. This sperm duct and this prostate gland and testes. So the correct answer, A. Prostate gland and sperm duct and testes. What is defined as a thread-like structure of DNA carrying genetic information in the form of genes? It's about chromosome. A chromosome is a thread of DNA, carrying genetic information in the form of genes. What about allele? Allele variation of a gene. Protein, amino acid. From amino acid, zygote, fertilization, then it's fused to form a zygote. So a chromosome is a thread of DNA carrying genetic information in the form of genes. The statements describe steps in protein synthesis. Number one, copies of gene are carried to the cytoplasm as mRNA, messenger RNA molecules. Each ribosome assembles amino acids into a protein molecule. The gene coding for a protein is copied in the nucleus. The messenger RNA molecules pass through ribosome. Which sequence of steps is correct? Okay, let's see the first step. The first step, the gene, the sequence of bases on DNA codes for the correct sequence of amino acids in a protein. So the first step here, number 3, the gene coding for a protein is copied in the nucleus. Number 2, copies of the gene are carried to cytoplasm as messenger RNA molecules. mRNA passes to ribosome. Okay, from nuclear board, the role of messenger RNAs to copy the DNA code and carry it to the ribosome in the cytoplasm. Number 3, what happens? Yeah, the messenger RNA molecules pass through ribosome. Okay, the last one, each ribosome assembles the ribosome assemble amino acid into protein molecules. So the correct answer, number 1, the gene coding for a protein is copied in the nucleus. Then copies of the gene are carried to the cytoplasm as messenger RNA molecules. After that, the messenger RNA molecules pass through ribosomes. Finally, each ribosome assembles amino acids into protein molecule. Sunflower has 17 chromosomes in each pollen nucleus. These nuclei are produced by the process of process of meiosis. In the anthers, they are genetically, meiosis is different from all the pollen nuclei produced by those anthers. After fertilization, the resulting zygote 2N will have 17 plus 17, 35, 34 chromosomes. What is the difference between mitosis and meiosis? Mitosis is the type, nuclear division, that occurs during growth and asexual reproduction. The daughter cells are genetically identical, but meiosis in 6 organs to form gametes. It is the nuclear division that gives rise to daughter cells that are not genetically identical, different. A man heterozygous for the sickle cell anemia, allele HBS, HBA, has children with a woman who is homozygous for the normal hemoglobin allele, HBA, HBA. What's the probability that the first child will be resistant to malaria? Okay, S, allele for sickle, A, allele for normal. So here a person who is heterozygous for sickle cell anemia has protection from malaria, resistant to malaria, because the malaria parasite is unable to invade and produce in the sickle cell. So what is probability here? Yeah, half, 0.5. Okay, look here. Yes, half. Which leaf feature is an adaptation of xerophytes to their environment? Plants modified to cope with lack of water are called xerophytes. So here, which leaf feature is an adaptation of this type of plant, like marram grass? Yeah, here surrounding stomata to reduce air movement so humidity builds up and transpiration is reduced. And also fleshy stem and thick wax cuticle, small number of stomata, yes. Large internal hollow spaces? No, this is for hydrophytes plants. Large numbers of stomata? No, the hydrophytes also for hydrophytes. But here, small number of stomata. Thin cuticle on both surfaces, also for hydrophytes. But here, xerophytes, fleshy stem and thick wax cuticle, and small number of stomata and hair surrounding stomata to reduce air movement so humidity builds up and transpiration is reduced. The graph shows the change in population of an organism over time in an ecosystem. There are 4 phases here in the sigmoid population growth curve: lag, exponential or log, stationary, and death phase. Which row correctly identifies each phase of the population graph, X and Y and Z? Yes, we already answered, we answered it. Yes, X for exponential or log, and Y stationary, and Z death phase. Okay, let's see the explanation of this part. The lag phase, when doubling of the numbers has little effect as the number are so small. Bacteria take up water and nutrients and make new cytoplasm, DNA and enzymes. The exponential or log phase, when the population is increasing rapidly. Increasing, yes, increasing rapidly. Okay. The population increased by doubling, and there are no limiting factors such as food or water during this phase of rapid growth. There are no factors to limit population growth, but after a while, limiting factors such as lack of food and build-up of waste restrict population growth, which slow down and stop. The part Y for stationary phase, when bacterial cells are dying at the same rate at which they are being produced. This may be because of shortage of food or because waste products are building up. The death phase, when more cells are dying than are being produced, so the population declines. Causes of death may be lack of food and shortage of oxygen or a buildup of toxic waste products. The curve shown in the graph is known as sigmoid growth curve. Here decrease and here increase. The diagram shows the structure of a bacterium. The presence of structure X is one reason why bacteria are used in genetic engineering. What is structure X? Bacteria cells are surrounded by cell wall. The cells of some bacterial species are also surrounded by slime capsule. There is no nucleus, just a loop of DNA within the cytoplasm. Bacteria often have additional loops of DNA inside their cytoplasm called plasmids. The structure of bacteria differs from animal and plant cell as they do not have chloroplast or mitochondria. Some bacteria have extensions called flagella like this for moving through water or other fluids. So what is structure X? X is plasmid. When nitrates enter a lake, they cause rapid growth of algae on the surface of water. This causes the following changes in the lake. The concentration of dissolved oxygen in the water decrease. Fish and other aquatic animals die. Aerobic respiration in decomposers increase. Producers die and decomposition increase. In which order do these changes occur? Okay. Let's see. Fertilizer can be washed through the soil into rivers and streams. This is called leaching. The rivers may flow into a lake. Once in the water, this stimulates population growth of algae. Nutrients in the fertilizers are usually in low concentration in the water and so limit in the growth of the algae. Animals that eat the algae do not multiply fast enough to control their growth. Algae cover the surface layers of water, reducing the light, reaching plants at the bottom of the lake. These plants eventually die and rot on the riverbed. Algae also die as there is competition for resources and many are shaded by the algae on the surface. So the first one, producers die and decomposition increase. The second one, aerobic respiration in decomposers increase. And the third one, the concentration of dissolved oxygen in the water decrease. So the decomposers such as bacteria feed on dead plants and algae bacteria respire aerobically and multiply rapidly and use up a lot of dissolved oxygen. So the concentration of dissolved oxygen in the water decrease. Finally, what happened? The concentration of oxygen decrease, and this kills fish and invertebrates that cannot respire properly. So the last one, fish and other aquatic animals also die. The action of which type of bacteria would cause soil to be lacking in nitrates? Aerobic, denitrifying, nitrifying, nitrogen fixing. What about denitrifying bacteria? Live in waterlogged soil. They change nitrate ions to nitrogen gas. Yeah, so the percentage of nitrates decrease. Yes. It is so that they balance the uptake of nitrogen gas by nitrogen fixing bacteria. Nitrifying bacteria in the soil change ammonia ions into nitrate. So percentage of nitrate increase. These bacteria gain their energy from the oxidation reaction instead of absorbing light or feeding as a decomposer. Nitrogen fixing bacteria are found in the soil. These can convert nitrogen gas from the air into compounds of nitrogen that they use themselves when they die and are decomposed. This fixed nitrogen is available to plants. Okay, so the correct answer, B, denitrifying. Okay, denitrifying. Why denitrifying? Because they change nitrate ions to nitrogen gas. The percentage of nitrate decrease. The diagram shows the production of a male embryo, egg cell, and sperm cell, mitosis, male embryo XY. So X, egg cell, Y, sperm cell, and male embryo XY, and type of cell division at B, mitosis to form embryo. So the correct answer C. Foxes are mammals. The table shows adaptations of 4 different species of fox. Which fox is best adapted to live in a hot, dry desert region? Yes, behavior here, like fennec fox. Fennec fox have many desert adaptations, including fur-covered feet and heat-radiating ears and pale fur that offers excellent camouflage in the sand. So behavior here, mainly active at night. Okay, because desert hot, and ear size very large, and fur color pale. Okay, and daily volume of urine produced small. Save water. What is the principal source of energy input into food chains? Yes, sunlight. What would be the effect of cutting down forests on the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere? Yes, carbon dioxide concentration rise because of less photosynthesis. If it more photosynthesis, so carbon dioxide concentration decrease, not increase. What is an example of population? A population is a group of organisms of one species living in the same area at the same time. Factors affecting the rate of population growth include food supply, predation, and disease. So here, yes, the correct answer B, or the cheetah deer found in the forest, because it's the group of organisms of one species and same area. During the extraction of apple juice, ripe apples are crushed and the enzyme pectinase is added. Which observations show the pectinase has been used to produce the apple juice? Pectinase are used for clarification of the juice by breaking the polysaccharide pectin structure present in the cell wall of plants into galacturonic acid monomers. Pectin structure breakage facilitates the filtration process and it increases the total yield of juice. So here, which observation show the pectinase has been used to produce the apple juice? If the volume of juice obtained, yes, more volume of juice obtained more, because it increased the total yield of juice. And also appearance of juice, yes, it's clear, because pectinase are used for clarification of the juice. Rice has been modified by adding genes from bacteria and another plant so that it can produce the nutrient beta carotene. With what is the process called? Yes, this is called genetic engineering. During the treatment of sewage, what is removed by screening? Screening is the first unit operation used at wastewater treatment plants. Screening removes objects such as rags, paper, plastics, and metals to prevent damage. So here during the treatment of sewage, what is removed by screening? Large plastics. Okay. Thanks, my dear students. In this video, we answered paper 1 and paper 2 variant 2 February-March 2021. Goodbye. See you next time, inshallah.